Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting your own company as taking the leap, as if they are blindly jumping off a cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help show you that it doesn't have to be that way. I'll share with you the process that I used for starting my company, and you too can be on your way to starting your very own service-based company. We will work through some common issues that are preventing you from starting your company and fulfilling your own true potential. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with somebody who might also be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach. And just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want the show to grow the same way. It takes two things for that to happen. We have to put out great content, and you have to help share our valuable message. So as you encounter people that are considering starting their own company, please do us a favor and shoot them a link to our show. Or if you see these people on social media, please drop a link to the show in the comments of their question on social media. I am Mitch Smedley, the host of the show, and with me, as always, is David Hilton.
Mitch, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing. You know, I've made it to, what episode is this? 8?
This is episode 8.
One episode at a time.
You haven't been fired yet.
Yeah, Marcus has been taking really good care of me.
How's it going, y'all?
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
So we got Marcus back there behind the camera.
Yeah.
And for those of you who aren't listening on or watching on YouTube, Marcus is behind the microphone.
Is he?
So
Behind the scenes.
Half the times he's asleep.
sometimes,
He's back there on Facebook. He's back there texting his old lady.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know. But he's actually working. So
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yep.
I try.
But
He
no,
tries.
I'm doing great, Mitch.
Yeah?
I'm doing great.
Good.
We've
Good deal.
We've started to compile some serious episodes here, and
Yep.
I feel like every time we do one, it's just a little better than the first.
Yeah.
So I want to, we're going to get into Wake Up, Do the Work, Repeat in this one.
On this episode.
Which is episode 8. But
Yep.
I want to go through, what we've done so far.
Yep.
So, episode 1 was more of the why, the vision, the reason you're starting your company.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got into the actual preparation adversities. So number 1 was personal finance prep, and that was episode 2.
Yep.
Preparation adversity number 2 was business finance prep. That's episode 3. Preparation adversity number 3, systems prep, and that is episode 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
Because there was so much shit to go through.
It's a lot.
You know what though?
But it's important.
It was important, and I don't. We've gone far enough now that I've been able to go back and watch those, and they actually go really smooth,
Mm-hmm.
and the amount of information that's easily obtained in those is better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, episode 4, 5, and 6 is like 3 hours, but that's 3 hours of solid content that by the time you put in the work of doing all of that,
Yeah,
you are almost guaranteed success.
Man, there is a lot of good stuff in there, and
Yeah.
those, and we haven't opened up to Q&A yet, but when we do, a lot of those questions are gonna be, from that
On that.
and we've talked about, maybe given some free consultation, and we've kind of kicked those ideas back and forth about on the website what we're gonna do, and I think those were good ideas you've had that we've talked about off.
Mm-hmm.
I say off air, the
Yeah,
podcast. You're not live, but
Right.
and we're gonna give people opportunities for that. But like I said, this is we just did the first episode of Beginning Adversities, which is number 4, community involvement work, and that was episode 7, and that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of good stuff in that.
Some solid stuff in that one.
But today we're gonna do Beginning Adversity, step 5, Wake Up, Do Work, Repeat, and then after this we're gonna have one more of the core episodes left, and that's gonna be Beginning Adversity number 6, or number 3, but number 6 is evaluate performance, make adjustments, and improve.
Yep.
And then
It's
just
the 6th
2
overall step. It's the 3rd beginning adversity,
Yes.
and it's in the 9th episode.
That's why I have to say all that so
Yeah.
that you straighten everybody out, because
Yep.
it's just so much stuff.
Yep.
But and after that, if you come in on episode 200, all you need to do is go back and listen to those first 9 and then come back to 200.
Yeah.
You can listen to the other ones.
Yeah.
But it's not that big a deal. But these first 9 episodes are really important.
Yeah, so basically, to remind people the layout of the show, we've got these 9 episodes that cover these 6 core adversities that you need to overcome if you want to be successful. And then once we get beyond these 9 episodes, the whole remainder of the show is real-life application of those in a case-by-case environment. And we're going to handle that in 2 ways. One is going to be like question and answer type stuff where people will be able to email in questions, and we're going to help use those 9 core adversities to answer your questions. And another is we're going to bring on guests of the show, and these guests are going to be newer into business, and they're going to be discussing areas where those core adversities helped them. And because keep in mind, nobody really knew these core adversities until we came up with them. And so they're going to be discussing like areas where they struggled starting in business, where they could have benefited from these core adversities.
Yeah.
And then areas where they did really well that ironically will tie back to these core adversities so we can show the importance of them.
The diversity of the guests is going to really tie a lot of this together.
Yes.
And we've had a lot of discussions. Mitch is service-based. I'm service-based. And we've tried to kind of, drag other things into it. We're going to have some ladies on this show as guests that are going to have a whole nother experience than what we had. A lot of what they had to go through is in what we've talked about, and a lot of it is going to be different.
Yeah.
And those are going to be very valuable insight as we move forward. And not only is it going to be entertaining to hear what they have to say, but it's going to be extremely educational. And I am really looking forward to the questions and the guests.
Yeah.
After we get past these next couple of episodes.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're actively seeking out newer self-employed people that do things that we have never done before. And so maybe window tinting, maybe hair cutting, maybe gym ownership, maybe restaurant ownership. There's endless possibilities. But all of these people will have unique challenges, and it doesn't mean like let's just take.
They're not wrong. What they did isn't wrong.
No.
It's just
they're successfully in business right now, so they've overcome them in some way.
They're going to be guests that just have different stories.
Yeah,
and when we get what's going to be really cool, I think, is. So when we have guests on and we're open to questions and people ask those, hey, I saw that you had Jennifer on. I'm just picking a name.
Yeah.
Could you get I have a business that's the same. I have this question. I will seek out that answer for you. I'll contact her and say,
hey, we might reach out to Jennifer and say, hey, how do you solve this?
Yeah, we had a question. What do you think?
Yeah.
And if she gives us an answer, we're going to put it right out here and say, hey, this is what she said.
Yeah. Again, the whole basis for this show is to help you cross that void from employee to self-employment and to make your path a little bit more known. We can't do the work for you. You have to do all the work, but we can eliminate some of the guesswork and a lot of the guesswork. And so that's the objective of the show. And this process works for almost any service-based business out there. So, I
didn't mean to get off tangent.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine.
Let's move forward.
So, today's episode is on the second beginning step. And again, to remind you, the beginning steps are what we're doing after we've started our business. You can prepare for them beforehand, but these are done after you start. And today's step is wake up, do work, and repeat. Now, the modern day lingo for this would be hustle and grind, but I can't
You gonna bring that back
stand those. Yes, I'm going to bring it up because they're the most overused words ever, and they're so watered down in their importance. I was thinking about this the other day. When I started as a plumber, I was always known for like running to the truck and then running back to the job and running to the supply trailer and running back to the job. And people they'd look at me weird. And I used to quote unquote hustle everywhere, right? Well, when I started in plumbing 20 years ago,
you had to hustle.
Hustle meant something different.
Yeah.
Hustle meant
meant
speed with expeditious movement. Right?
Hustle meant more like it does in sports now.
Yeah.
Like you hustled and ran harder than the next guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I was grown up under the idea that what you lacked in knowledge, you made up for in hustle.
Or effort.
So, yeah, if I didn't know what I was supposed to be getting from the trailer, I would at least make that trip as quick as possible. If I didn't
put the effort in.
Yeah.
To shave as much time as you could.
And unfortunately now, hustle means something completely different. And half the time I hear people talk about hustle, I think they're scamming people.
Well, it's because kids they think hustle is regular work.
Right.
You know? No.
Right.
No. You have no freaking idea.
Right. So that's why we specifically did not use those words in titling this episode.
Yeah, we talked
The basic fundamentals is waking up, doing the work, and repeating that day in and day out. Yeah. So you've done all the prep steps. You've solved your community involvement piece, right? You've identified what you're going to do there.
Your company, basically at this point, your company is off the ground.
Yep.
You're starting. You're involved in the community, and you're really starting to gain traction with service calls, with work coming in, and you have to dedicate yourself to getting into a routine and doing that work every day.
Yeah. So now the real work begins.
Yeah.
And it sounds silly because you've put in a lot of work up till now, but now the actual physical work begins. Now you have to do the task over and over and over. So it's time to put all the preparation and good public relations work to use. This is the part you've been waiting for, right? This is literally the part you've been dreaming of for so long.
You've been working to get to the work.
Right. Now you get to make customers happy. It's the part where you get to make your community better. It's the part where you're starting to make money. So you'll soon find that the excitement of those first few weeks will provide you with enough energy to carry through, and it should. It's very exciting to get started in your business, and it's very exciting to actually get moving. But let me be and I'll be the first to congratulate you on that. I mean, seriously, congratulations. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when people start sending stuff in that says, "Hey, thank you."
I used your method and now I'm off
hey,
on my
I'm
own,
off.
right?
Hey, man.
That's going to be really cool.
You've done a lot of work to get here.
Right.
Like for us, it's 8 episodes of talking. For you, it's been 6 months of work.
Right.
Good job, man.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Good job. Nice.
So I'm gonna borrow a great line from one of my favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption.
Of course you are.
If you've made it this far, you'll travel a little more. A lot more, actually. Making it here is definitely a milestone. However, your journey is just now officially beginning.
Yeah.
It's time to start doing the thing multiple times a day, 6 to 7 days a week for the next 6 months. No coasting, no days off, no slowing down. Remember that life isn't designed to give you what you want or what you need. Life is designed to give you what you deserve. And so putting in the time and effort day in and day out allows the platform for you to deserve success. Taking care of your community allows you to deserve success. You don't deserve success if you're new into self-employment and you're already only working 3 days a week. You don't deserve success if you're only working half days.
And Mitch isn't saying that you have to work 7 days of 12 hours days.
No.
Of 12-hour days, sorry. He's saying
you got to put in the work when the work's there to take.
Yeah, you got
to make hay when the sun shines.
You got to work those 40 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Don't think you're going to work 20.
Right.
You've already done the hard freaking part.
Yeah.
Now all you have to do is this stuff that you know how to do.
Yeah.
And for a lot of guys, it's easy because they will realize, oh, man, I'm here. I've done all this stuff I didn't know how to do. I've overcome so much. And now I'm to the point where I'm doing what I already knew how to do.
Right.
So get out there and do it.
Yeah. And I'll be the first to tell you, it's not easy. I mean, I recently just did all this.
Of course, it's not easy.
It's not easy to wake up every day and put forth that effort. It's not easy to wake up on the Saturdays where you're used to being off and put forth that effort. It can be exhausting. However, one of the key pieces of this whole show is on a service-related business, you should be able to pay off all of your startup costs within the first 6 months.
And that should be your goal.
And that's why this step is in there for 6 months. So the goal of this step is that at the end of the 6-month period, you're staring at a debt-free business with a bank account that is growing in value every month. So you need to push through the struggles and wake up, do the work, and repeat that every day.
And don't waste the work that you've already put in.
Right.
By not continuing on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you have done what we said to do and what we've talked about, and you've put in 6 months of, I took care of my own personal finances. I have my business plan in place. I had the money to do it. I didn't have to borrow the money. And I got my LLC out there, and I've done all this work to do it. Don't let yourself down.
Right.
You have done the work. So just keep on going, man.
Yeah.
You are the crest is here, and you're right here at this point if you followed our steps, and you're ready to do something special. Don't give up.
Right. As newer businesses, you're not going to open your doors and immediately have a full schedule.
No.
And so
unless you could be fortunate. Those things could happen.
If you do, congratulations, that's amazing.
Yes.
So most people won't. And those days of less than full schedules is going to vary depending on how well you interact with your community and all
don't
that
be
stuff.
discouraged.
Don't be discouraged.
Don't
right?
be discouraged.
So
you're still doing the right thing. When
I started hours, I didn't know how long it was going to take me to have a full schedule. And so what I came up with was, again, this is on the wake up, do work, repeat mantra, is I wanted to be doing plumbing work every day. That was our business. But if I didn't have calls to do plumbing work every day, I sure as heck wasn't going to be sitting at home flipping through TV channels hoping for the phone to ring. So I made a commitment to myself that I would work 6 days a week for the first 2 months. Okay, now this isn't a notable commitment. 6 days a week, 2 months. It's not like
no.
It's not like I'm
You're not
killing
changing
myself.
The world, man.
But these days were going to be full days. These days where I was going to be away from the house, not in my home from 8 to 5, and I was going to be either running calls or doing things to generate work. I was going to either be doing work or hunting work.
Yeah.
And those two things alone.
Can I give you an example? So when I did the same thing when I started. So if I didn't have calls, what I did was I went to a lot of local small restaurants or bars or really small grocery stores for refrigeration work at my time. And I just went in there and said, is the manager here? Mm-hmm. Who's in charge? And I wasn't pushy. I just went in there and said, hey, I'm started doing refrigeration work in your area. Yep. Here's my business card. I said, I'm not looking to take your guys' work, but if he falls through or you can't get a hold of him, I'd be happy to have your business. Yep. And it took literally 15 minutes. Yep. And it's amazing how many businesses you can go to when you have an extra 2 or 3 hours a day.
Right. If you've got 2 hours,
it doesn't have to be a lot of stuff.
Right.
You may have to go to 15 to get 2 calls, but those 2 calls, they could turn into 15 calls.
Right. So my thing, same idea. I would either run calls, but if I didn't have calls to run, I had made up some little door hangers that I would hang on people's doors.
Love door hangers.
And so I would walk neighborhoods and hang door hangers myself.
Are you talking about just around in your neighborhood?
In the core service area that I was trying to target? And the door hangers, they had some great offers to help, entice coupons to call us.
You're trying to bolster business at this point.
Yeah. Every time I parked my work van, I would park in the most obvious and viewable spot ever. So even we'd go to Walmart for something, and I didn't park up by the door. I'd park out in the outlot where the travel lanes are,
where everyone was driving by.
Yeah, if we would go out to eat, I wouldn't park up close to the restaurant. I would park out by the main road and back the truck out there so everybody can see it.
Everyone's thinking, why didn't you take your personal? Why?
right?
Yeah. It's
trying to get
advertisement.
some advertisements.
And we talk about this in the episode right before this one, the community involvement work. This is the same thing.
Yeah.
Take that truck out.
Yeah.
Advertise when you're out there.
I had 2 sets of business cards when I started our business. Now, side tangent here.
I like side tangents. I'm bad about it. I just jump in whenever the hell I feel like it.
When you're making business cards, do not put the fact that you own the company. There's this problem out there where people start a company, and it's like they start the whole company just so they can make a business card that says founder or CEO or owner or some brag-worthy crap on there. And that's not what you want on a business card. You want your business card to say your name and your realistic position in the company. So even if you are the owner of the hair salon,
just put
you want to put your
manager.
name and lead stylist or lead barber. Like my business cards literally say my first name. The company's named after my last name, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even have my last name on the business card. It says Mitch, and then it says Master Plumber.
And
that's all it says.
Now let's talk about that for a second. So when I started my company, I put owner on mine.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Mitch is right. Okay, this is a humble moment for me. And we've talked about that before. I did that, and I didn't do it out of pride. I just did it because that's what I thought everyone did.
It's what everyone thinks you should do.
And I did it. Now, I'm going to be honest. Did it hurt me? I don't know. Did it help me? I don't know.
The thing is, people behave different around when they think they're around the owner than when they think they're around an employee.
Sometimes. And in certain situations, I think it helps you. And in other situations, it hurts you. Yeah. So it's probably better to be neutral, like you're talking about in this situation.
If I need them to know I'm the owner, I can simply tell them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but when I'm going into customers' homes, I hand them my business card, and it just says my name. And I'm going to say 90% of our customers don't know I'm the owner. They probably think it's my dad that owns the company.
And that's, you know what?
Totally fine. I get a lot more candid conversation with them.
Yeah.
Because they think I'm a real employee rather than the owner.
And that's another, we talk about this early, and this is a different style of gut check.
Yeah.
But it's more of a pride check.
Yep.
Don't be so prideful that you hurt your business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't have your chest out.
Yeah.
Your chest out is not going to help you.
That goes back to the whole work truck thing. Too flashy of a work truck thing is going to turn your customers off. Kind of the same thing.
And being humble, we've talked about this 50 times. Being humble and being real and not setting off someone's bullshit meter and doing those things, all that does is help.
It makes you genuine.
Yeah, it helps your customers feel, this is going to sound stupid, closer to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what sales are really about.
Yeah. Yeah. They want to do business with somebody they feel comfortable with, and they don't always feel comfortable doing business with the owner.
Yeah. And you know what? If they feel comfortable with you and you're being genuine, that benefits you and them.
Yeah. So another thing that I did was I had another small stack of cards made up that were like the shape of business cards. But they were like $1 off coupon. Mine happened to be $50 off coupon.
Nice.
And what it was like a service appreciation thing. And I would hand them out to anybody that I received really good service from. And if I went to a restaurant and I got like great service from the bartender, I would pay my tab.
Waitress or whatever.
Yeah. I would pay my tab or pay her check. And
maybe then throw a few extra dollars on it if it was good.
I always tip well.
Yeah.
But then I would slide one of those cards in there, and the card simply said something to the effect of, like, at our company, we value great service, and we received great service from you.
Thank you.
In exchange for that, here's a $50 off coupon for your next plumbing call with Smedley Plumbing.
And you know what? I've heard about guys doing that before, but that doesn't. I'm going to lose my train of thought here. But that makes them think they're not shoving a coupon down my throat to get my business because the guy just tipped me really well, and if I don't call him, who cares?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just like
it's passive, but it's also with intent because I'm acknowledging I received great service from you, and if you would like to receive great service from your plumber, call us.
And it doesn't put pressure on them,
right?
Because of the generous tip you left them.
Yeah, it's passive.
Yeah, very, very passive, which is. really how you are.
Yeah. Yeah, just passive and direct at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
So in episode 1, we talked about setting the $1 million goal, but not for the $1 million, but rather for the person you become along the way.
The millionaire mindset.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about, I don't think we talked about it the last episode,
right.
which is okay.
Yep.
But that's really that's part of your success is developing that millionaire mindset.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff kind of, tunes into that.
Yeah. So these first few months of your company's existence, you're living that example of becoming that millionaire mindset person. A millionaire is efficient, effective, connected, generous, active, and consistent. And so for me, I was behaving. A lot of
adjectives. I like it.
Yeah, I was behaving like a millionaire long before I became one. I'm still not one yet, but I will be one day. I found the easiest way to push through the exhaustion was to have some form of a daily routine. This won't work for everybody. It worked really well for me. And it's not like a process or a procedure, but just more a simple routine that gave me an opportunity to sit down each day and realize the successes of the day and the week and the month. Previously, we talked about daily and monthly tracking sheets. And we're going to actually talk more about those in the next episode. But I was plugging in the information those every evening. For me, the evenings they were my place to go out to work and then come home and kind of like disconnect from the day at work. So I would come home and plug in the information of those sheets just before I went to bed.
So you're talking about you came home, you had dinner, you relaxed a little bit, and then kind of you plug that information in as a way to disconnect.
Yeah, so
from and free your mind up to finish that day off.
Yeah, a lot of people newer into business, they're so anxious or so excited they can't sleep. And because they don't really know what they're doing. They're running dark, and we talked about in our previous episode, running a marathon without knowing where the finish line is. If you don't have some of this stuff in place, you're so anxious because you don't know what success looks like. And so having those sheets and making sure to plug those sheets in every night and plug the information into them every night allowed me to go to bed with confidence of knowing exactly where I was.
And a clear mind.
Yeah.
Having a clear mind, and this is, we're going to talk about that here a little bit, but those being able to disconnect from work and have a clear mental picture of the next day without having the previous day drag on you.
Yep.
So that you can rest easy that night is huge. Because if you're not, and you're up half the night thinking about all that stuff and you're not getting good rest, you're not good to anybody at that point.
Yeah.
And you have got to have balance in your life. And and we're going to go into some of that right now, but that's kind of where we're moving.
Yep. Yeah, my daily routine was I would typically wake up at 4:30 each day. Now, I'm not saying anybody has to do this.
Let's talk about that for just 2 seconds. I haven't been up before 6:30 in like 2 years.
Yeah, it's different for everybody.
Yes.
I'm just going to let you know my routine.
Yes, and don't think... I just feel like when sometimes, and I know lots of guys that are like you, they get up early. They're just early risers, and that's great.
Yeah.
But don't
feel
like...
Marcus, our producer,
on the other
he's
side
a night owl.
of the spectrum.
Yeah, he is on the opposite.
Yeah.
So don't feel like if you don't... I just don't want people to hear 4:30 and think, I can't be successful because I don't do that.
No.
You can make it work.
Yeah.
When I worked for an HVAC company doing new construction every day, it wasn't 4:30, but it was 5:30.
Yep.
I got up at 5:30 every day, and I had to make it work. And you can make yourself do certain things for a certain amount of time, but if it's killing you and you need to adjust your schedule so that you're comfortable, you need to do that.
Rest is important.
Yes. And
Very
if you
important.
need to... And look, lots of people will, and I'm going to use your company just as an example. A lot of people are okay with 7 o'clock service calls, PM.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if you start your day a little later, it's all right.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm getting ready to hire a guy that's going to start a little later and work a little later.
Exactly. So don't feel like when when people say, and a lot of guys do it, and Mitch isn't saying this at all, if you don't get up at 4, you ain't going to freaking make it.
That's bull.
That's not true.
Nope.
But for Mitch, getting up at 4:30 and having that routine every day, that's important for his success.
Yeah. So
and whatever your routine is, you need to stick to it because it's important for your success.
Yeah. My routine was I would wake up at 4:30 every day. I would head to the gym and I would work out from 5 to 6. I would come home and spend 30 minutes or so reading or writing. Then I would, shower, get dressed, and eat breakfast, and then I would scan through the service calls that we had on the board that day. And I would also look a couple of days ahead. I wouldn't look too far ahead, but I would look a day or two ahead, just so that I was aware if I had a larger job coming up. I didn't want to be like that day getting surprised at that larger job. Jobs that might need more material that I stocked on the truck and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to plan. You got to have a little time to plan certain things.
Yeah. I would arrive at my first service call at 8 to 8:30 in the morning. I would typically run 3 to 4 service calls a day. Some days I would run more, some days less. Some days I'd work on one job all day long, or several days for that matter. It just kind of depends.
Yeah, if you're doing a service replacement and that thing's 300 feet long.
Yep.
They're all, out in the country. Maybe it's
going to take a while.
Yeah.
But I always followed the same morning routine. That routine gave me a home base. It was a consistent starting point each day so that no matter how crazy the day was going to be, I started from the same place every day. As a service plumber, once we get out in the field, our days are wildly unpredictable. So having a consistent morning routine was important. Now for my evening routine. When I got home from work all day, I would always make sure to eat dinner and have meaningful talks with my family, with my kids, and with my wife. This can be easy for new business owners not to make time for their family. It's the general aura out there
it's
that
an easy scapegoat to say, "Hey, I'm starting a company.
I'm busy. I don't have time for family." Right? No, the whole reason I started my company was so that I would have more time with my family.
And this gets back to you're not just doing the company to make money,
right?
You're doing it to be a pillar in your community. You're doing it to be a
pillar in your household.
Yeah. And that's what, Mitch has said a couple times, unsubscribe if you're thinking about doing this for greed.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
He's 100% correct. We're not just trying to prepare you for the business, but we're trying to help you. If you're going to do a business, you can still be a good family man or woman or party community, or if you're not married and you don't have any kids and you're a woman and you're out there on your own doing it, you can do your business and still call your mom every night and say, "Hey, love you."
You can still make time for family.
Yeah.
You can still make time for friends.
Don't let it overrun your life. Still do the things that you want to do.
Right.
That's why you've started your company.
And if you use the company as an excuse not to do that, you're going to start an erosion of your relationships that is not worth the risk to start a company.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would talk to my kids about the successes of my day or the repairs I made. Kids always love hearing about what their mom and dads do for work. Sometimes I would talk to them about the successes of their day. Regardless of which, I always made time to talk to them about something. And the same went for my wife. We would always talk. One of the hesitations I had with starting our company, or any company for that matter, was because of something I noticed early on in my career, and I'm sure everyone else has noticed the same. I noticed that there weren't very many successful business owners that were still happily married. There's a lot of people that had started businesses, they became successful, and now they're divorced. And I was not willing to risk that. I noticed that after years in the industry, that the two did not seem to go hand in hand. And this was a big observation. It tells you how big of a toll business can take on a marriage.
If you're not prepared,
if you're not ready for it.
Huge.
Right.
I just like you said, I know a lot of guys that, hey man,
yeah,
we were in business 3 years, we got divorced. Why? sometimes they don't even have a freaking answer.
Right. And chances are their business might not be all that successful either.
Well, you know what? I'd say it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I know guys that have been super successful, got divorced, kept on rolling. I know guys that whose businesses were shit, got divorced, and still don't have anything. I mean, that's worst case scenario. But the problem is they just didn't have any perspective about what they were doing, the toll it was taking, where they needed to focus their time at.
Right.
And when you say routine, and I know I'm going back just a little bit here, but routine is huge. So, if people that are listening to this have kids, getting them up in the morning at the same time every day, getting them on the bus, getting them home at the same time, getting them a snack at the same time, getting them dinner at the same time, getting them their homework done at the same time. If you can't stick to that routine, you notice a huge difference in their performance.
Yeah.
It's amazing that as we get older, guess what? We're still that way.
Yeah.
We still need those things to be in order.
We're wired for order.
We are. And and some people don't realize it till they're older. Some people realize it when they're younger. I need that routine. So, just like my last couple of months have been a little messed up.
Right.
And so I had to start a new routine. And so what I started doing was I started getting up at the same time every day having coffee. Then I get up Layla, my daughter, get her on the bus, go inside, work out for an hour, then start doing stuff after that. It made a huge difference in the way I felt.
Yeah.
My mental fatigue, whether I had it or not, the amount of work I was getting done. You need to have that routine no matter what you're doing.
Right. So
to be successful.
People would ask, why do you get up at 4:30? Well, I get to my first service call at 8 to 8:30, right? So by the time I get to my first service call, I'm already 4 hours into the day, and I've already achieved a bunch of shit. And so the day could go south, and I've already done.
You've accomplished.
I've already accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what set things in motion for me.
Yeah.
Was no matter what happens with the day, I've already still kind of won even before I even get to my first service.
Yeah,
call.
and we know a guy who lives by me, old man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how he is.
Yep.
He gets up at 4 every day.
Yep.
And he gets started and gets going. But you know what? It's the same thing. By the time he gets that day rolling, he's already accomplished half of the things he set out to.
Yeah.
So no matter what the fuck happens, he's fine. And not.
And some
I
of
said
it's
it
like
earlier. Not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
But
for me, some of it's a little personal, ego spur, right? And not in a braggy way, but I know that by 8:30 in the morning, I've accomplished more than a lot of people will all day long.
And feeling good about what you've done
Yeah.
is not an ego thing if you need it.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
So.
And if you need those things to be part of your routine, then do them. If you don't, hey man, no worries.
Right. Right.
Just if it works for you, like it works for Mitch, then do it.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed later on, so after I made the recognition that a lot of business owners that were successful were no longer happily married, a little while later I noticed that some of the most successful business owners were still very happily married.
Yeah.
And so that makes
I am happily married.
Yeah, that makes you recognize that, okay, to do it half-assed means failure in a couple of platforms.
Yeah.
But to do it all the way correctly means success on all aspects of life. And so for me, to be successful in business but to lose my family relationship would still be a failure, and I wasn't willing to risk that. So the only success that I was willing to accept was one that included my family as well. So setting aside time for dinner with my family and having meaningful talks with them became a very important part of my routine. My routine also consisted of plugging in those daily performance numbers right before I would go to bed. It only took me 5 minutes, but it was a very important 5 minutes.
And it gave you, do you think that it gave you a finality to the day?
Well, kind of.
What do you think?
It let you know where the finish line was on that month-long marathon.
Okay.
So it just kind of kept you in check. So every night I would open my key performance indicator sheet and I would plug in my number of calls that I ran for the day and the number of sales I made and all of that stuff. And then I would open my monthly tracking sheet and I would plug in all those summaries. And those sheets allowed me to see my performance for the day, and it allowed me to see where we were heading for the month, and it allowed me to go to bed with ease that night. And even if we were behind schedule or behind pace or whatever, at least I knew how far behind we were.
And it sounds to me like it gave you a real sense of, and I'm not trying to be a therapist, but it sounds to me like it gave you a real sense of completion for the day. Hey, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going to start tomorrow. So that gives me peace of mind to sleep tonight.
Right. Some nights I would work late, and maybe I had to sacrifice some of those pieces. I never, ever sacrificed family time. So if I had to find time to not do something, it was usually the business numbers over anything else.
You know what? And it should be that.
Yeah.
It should be that. If the work's done and you can say, hey, I can either do some paperwork or spend some time with my kids.
Yep.
If you choose paperwork over your kids, you're a freaking dipshit.
Yeah. And every once in a while, I would have to come home late enough to miss dinner, right? But the one nice part about that is if I was coming home that late, chances are the business numbers were pretty good that day.
Yeah.
So, I didn't make a habit of it, but again,
you know what?
Our work was kind of unpredictable out in the field.
A once in a while thing is a big difference than doing that every night.
Making it a habit, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that gets back to routine.
Waking up every day, putting in the work every day, and repeating that every day can be depleting unless you have a framework. And so my framework helped bookend all of that and helped give me a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to get lost in that. You just have to learn how to manage yourself. And so you probably thought, waking up, doing work, repeating was going to be more about the physicality of work. No. But it's not. It's really more about managing yourself. And if you have a good framework to manage yourself from, then it helps you remove some of the emotions from work, and it allows you just to make really good business decisions and really good work decisions. Without all this info, the level of work that you're putting out can be exhausting, and it's like running a marathon without knowing where the finish line is. So with this info, the excitement that you're gaining from plugging in the numbers and living your routine is enough to give you the energy to carry through to the next following days. To summarize that section, that framework allows you to separate your emotions from your business. And there's no super successful business person out there that allows their emotions to guide their business. So being able to disconnect your emotions from your business is really key. You don't make good decisions when you're emotional. It may feel good at the time, but disconnecting your emotions from those decisions is really important.
When you're emotional and you make decisions, you usually make the decision that is the quickest. To get it moved behind you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the right decision, but most of the time it's not.
Right.
And you're upset, and in business you're not usually upset. You're anxious, you're excited, you're mad, and you make those Man, I cannot speak all of a sudden. This is on Marcus. You can't make those decisions,
right?
Because you make them too quickly to get it behind you.
Right.
You don't pause to think, what is the right way to handle this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your body automatically, and all of us do it. They're just like, I want that behind me. I want to move on. I want it behind me. I want to move on. And that's not the right way to take things on.
And that's
especially in business.
And that's kind of why we're talking about it right now is the ability to, so you're listening to this episode before you're living this episode. And so you're
hopefully
you're going to be prepared to be in this framework. And when you're prepared for it, there's a lot less emotion involved, than whenever it's catching you off guard. So if you've done all these other steps correctly, your schedule is going to get full pretty quick, and that's good. But the last thing you want to do is be 2 months in business and going, oh, I can't keep up, and oh, this is the problem, and like now you hate this monster you created. So
and that you know what, that happens a lot more than people realize.
Yeah.
And then they're not prepared to hire someone to help them. But if you've gone through our preparation steps, you should be in a position where you can hire someone and go through the emotional preparation to handle those things when they do hit you.
It can kind of depend. So there was a time before we hired somebody, our schedule was going so nuts.
I remember.
That we had to carve down. So again, we're service plumbers, right? We go out to people's homes and fix plumbing. And we're in the Kansas City metropolitan area. Yeah. We had to carve down our service area to like 10 square miles because our service area our phone was blowing up so much that we couldn't keep up. And it just didn't make sense to drive 30 miles to a service call when I could
drive right down the road.
I could tell them that I'm sorry, I don't have any availability in my schedule, and hold that spot for somebody that was 4 miles away.
Yeah. And I remember calling you. So Mitch started his company, and we had talked a little bit before that, just as friends. Hey, and I called him a few times. Hey man, how's it going?
Right.
Are you doing good? What's going on? And he said, I remember one conversation specifically. He's like, dude, we are 2.5 weeks out.
Yeah.
I have another truck. I can't even find someone to hire. He's like, we're having to turn down freaking work.
Yep.
Because you know what? But he didn't allow that. And I'm not kissing his ass. Okay, I've known him for a long time. I don't do that anymore.
Right.
But I mean, he didn't allow that to break him.
Right.
He's like, hey, we're gonna be okay. I'm looking, and I looked out. I didn't find anybody to help him, and I was asking, and he was looking, and finally, he found somebody and was able to, open that service area back up. But he wasn't as prepared for that then as he is now.
Yep.
But that's another example of why you should maybe listen, because that's a good example of, oh, fuck.
It's a good problem to have.
What am I going to do? It is a good problem to have. But if you listen to this and that happens, you should be just a little more prepared than he was then.
Yeah. And in all fairness, the moment where we were 2.5 weeks out for a service call, which is scary. Some people look at that and they think it's job security. It's not a good position to be in.
No, he was worried.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I've had some humble moments on this show.
Yeah.
Mitch was worried.
Yep.
Okay, he was worried and wasn't sure where it was going to go.
It's a great way to ruin your reputation really quick if you can't get to your customers that need you. And so what caused that was a lot of our things worked together, and then we had probably like a 30-year record cold snap come in through the area.
Oh, man.
That froze and broke a ton of pipes in our area, and that really kind of set it over the edge.
It was brutal.
On top of like doing really well in
And
our
I was doing
marketplace.
HVAC at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, people were calling me, my furnace isn't keeping up. What do you mean your furnace isn't keeping up? You have natural gas. What?
Yeah.
Well, it was literally 0 degrees for like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And now people in the Northeast are like, you pussies.
Well, and
but
the homes
here,
in the Kansas City area aren't designed for 0 degrees for 2 weeks straight.
It was tough. It was a tough little break.
So,
I mean, but it was good though. It's bad on one hand, but it's good on another.
Yeah. It's challenges that you have to learn to overcome, and it gives you some
it's an
experience.
adversity.
Yep. So that kind of wraps up our little section on wake up, doing work, and repeating that work. There's 2 other topics we want to talk about on today's show, and these are things that you're going to overcome or going to have to face as you start your business. One of them has to do with business networking groups, and if you're a newer business, especially a service-related business, you are going to become swamped with people wanting you to join their networking group. So the next topic we're going to talk about after that is about some tips and tricks for how to run your social media. So First off, business networking groups. Like I said, if you're about ready to start your business, you are getting ready to become overcome with people wanting you to join their business networking group. And they claim that they're going to help your business grow and you're going to form all these relationships that'll last forever. But are they right for you?
Can I jump in just for 2 seconds?
Yep.
When you say, so a lot of people aren't going to know what a business networking group is.
Yeah.
Just explain what a business networking group is while you're on the topic.
Yeah. What a networking group is going to be a group. They have territories. So in your city, they're going to have a territory in your city.
Yes.
And they're going to have, they're going to say they have one position open for each job or each trade, right? So they're only going to have a spot for one real estate agent. They're only going to have a spot for one plumber. They're only going to have a spot for one mortgage person, one electrician, one whatever. And the idea is that you get this consortium of businesses that all refer work to each other.
Exactly.
And so that way when the electrician is in somebody's home and they're talking about, we're thinking about refinancing, he's like, I know a refi guy.
And he has a card ready to go.
Yeah, I've got a home inspector guy. I've got a plumber for you if you need a plumber. And so it's like this referral network, right? Yeah. So my personal opinion
is I don't like them. I like to refer guys that I know, and I don't know what Mitch is going to say. I mean, we have these papers that just kind of have points on them, but we haven't really talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like them.
Right.
Okay. I like to refer people that I know personally.
Yep.
Okay, and that's just how I am.
Yep.
And I am not saying that these network groups aren't good and can't help you.
Yeah.
And don't do a good job.
Yep.
That's just my personal preference.
So my personal opinion is that network groups work great for people who are selling smaller quantities of items at much larger values. They're not worth the effort for somebody who sells a high volume of items at a smaller transactional price. So these groups can be a job of their own. They require your weekly attendance.
Yeah, they can be.
You have to pay
in smaller areas.
Maybe
they're not as bad,
right?
And we're not in a big market.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Right.
We are outside of the Kansas City area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying you don't go into the bigger areas.
Yep.
But from being a smaller market, it's different for us.
Yeah. So these groups typically require a membership fee. And the moment you become a member, now you're measured on your contribution back to the group. So every week they're going to ask you for a report of how many referrals you gave out to the group that week. How many meetings did you attend with members of the group, like lunches or breakfasts?
Like you have time for that when you're running your own company.
Simply put, these groups can be they could take 2 to 3 hours out of your week every week.
They could take 2 hours out of your day.
They can. And so these groups seem to be pretty good at providing each member of the group about 1 to 4 leads per month.
Now, in smaller markets, it's a little different.
It might be.
But in I would say medium to large markets, it's a lot of handshakes and a lot of...
In reality, though, in a large market, they just plant 3 groups in that market. So, let's say our city only has an area for 1 group, okay? Well, in a city that's 3 times the size, they're going to have 3 groups in that city. And so you're still only going to get the same
small amount of leads.
Right. And so people who benefit the most from groups like these are going to be real estate agents and mortgage brokers and financial planners, because those places succeed off of 1 to 4 sales leads per month. If a real estate agent can sell 1 to 4 homes a month, they are killing it, right? Well, if a plumber only runs 1 to 4 calls per month, you're unemployed. So the value of these...
Can I say something? I love that. I didn't join an actual group. I'm going to just give my personal story on this.
Yep.
I didn't join an actual group, but I was I don't want to give away who this was. I was asked by a real estate agent. Actually, this has happened to me a few times, but one specifically, to go. So he is selling homes, and he needs an HVAC guy to give bids on replacement, repair. What do you think this would be? What do you think that would be? What do you think? And I'm not saying all groups are like this. So I said, yeah, okay. So after about the 8th freaking one where I didn't get a sale, I realized this guy is using me.
He's using you for a number.
Yep. Okay. It was a humbling moment for me because I was super excited. I was like, I'm getting in here. I'm going to get some stuff. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I don't want you guys to be screwed over.
Yeah.
You know, don't go out there and do freaking... Definitely don't pay. Yeah. I didn't pay. They were free estimates anyway. But, I didn't get any sales.
Yep.
I think I did one. I think I may have done one repair. But, yeah, I had done all these different things. And Marcus is distracted me. I don't know what he's doing right now.
He's crawling around on the floor.
He's crawling around on the floor looking for
we got a camera
an
getting
SD
warm.
card. Okay, I got you. I'm sorry, Marcus. I don't mean to. I'm not throwing you under the bus, but that was my personal experience with getting into it. It wasn't a sign up group per se, but it was a networking group,
right?
And I was in there for a little while, and that was a bad experience for me.
Yeah.
So don't let people take advantage of you by saying, "Hey, I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you this." Now listen, the guy didn't say that. He just said, "Hey, can you give me these?"
They give you that impression,
and he did that, and.
Yep.
Hey, I learned my lesson, and now I'm telling everyone else.
Yep. So my experience.
Be ready.
Yeah. My experience, I joined a networking group, and I had my suspicions or my questions up front, and so I gave myself 6 months in the networking group. Now, granted, I had to pay for a year membership, but it's water into the it's an experience.
It wasn't a big amount
it's
of
not
money.
It's not huge. So my personal experience. Was, here I am, a service plumber, and I need 1 to 4 leads per day. Now, I'm not expecting the networking group to give me all of those leads.
No, but you're expecting, maybe 1 every 2 days.
But I'm new into business, and I'm looking at all opportunities that might give me leads, right? And so this group wasn't a valuable use of my time. I was part of a networking group for 6 months. I tracked my time involved and the leads it generated. The group produced 18 leads over 6 months. Okay. I invested over 100 hours of my time to attend meetings and lunches with the members of the group over that same 6 months. It only produced 18 leads, so that was 5.5 hours of my time invested per lead.
Brutal.
Right. So, and
can I ask?
Because I also track everything else.
Will you tell me later who those people were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those leads ended up being some of the most lower paying leads I ran, right? Now, I'm not saying this to shame the group. I'm just saying for what I was doing, it didn't work for me. Now, you give those same 18 leads to a real estate agent over 6 months.
Oh shit, that's a ton.
And he might just make $100,000 in commissions.
Yeah.
Right? So the groups aren't bad. They just weren't the best for my personal business. So I'm giving you the shortcut version to say that those groups seem to produce 1 to 4 leads a month. And if you think that's valuable for you, then you might consider joining one.
And I think that a lot of those groups are real estate groups. And I don't want
Yeah, they tend to revolve around the home sale market.
I don't want to paint real estate agents in a bad light, but some, and I'm not going to say some, half of those freaking creeps are sleazy salesmen.
Yeah,
They are.
They are.
And they have created a lot of these groups to try to suck you in and get free information from you to help them make sales.
Yeah. So if you're doing a job, if whatever business you're looking to start can benefit from the real estate market, you're going to need to learn real quick how to identify the good half of the real estate agents from the bad half.
And I'm not saying I don't want to paint them all on with a bad brush.
But you're pretty accurate that
Yeah.
half of them are sleazeballs.
Yeah.
Now the nice part about it is
I
the
may
other half
or
are
may-
really amazing.
Yeah, and I may or may not have punched a real estate agent in the face at a bar one time, or maybe two. I'm just gonna say that sometimes those guys are they're pieces of work.
Thankfully, almost every real estate agent I've worked with has been pretty awesome. But again, I have a pretty good bullshit meter too.
Yeah, no
So,
shit.
I can sniff out the bad
Yet
ones.
I'm still friends with him.
Yeah.
So we'll check that meter here in another 6 months.
Ultimately, business networking groups didn't work for me because I'm needing like 60 leads per month.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. So if 1 to 4 leads a month is desirable to you, then check them out. The last thing that we're going to talk about today is social media.
Let's get it.
This is an area where 98% of businesses do it wrong. And now I'm not claiming I know the formula to do it right, but I can definitely spot the wrong approach. If you go to any service company's webpage or social media page, you're going to find the most boring social media page you've ever seen. They just don't get. They don't understand why people go to social media.
I'm going to tell you right now. So when I started, I would just post on Facebook, "Hey, I have an HVAC company," and like my posts were that.
Right.
Like I wasn't a salesman when I started, and I was just like, "Hey, if you need service work, call me."
Right.
That's all I put on there, and I know looking back now,
it didn't work,
dude.
It was bad.
It worked, but it worked. Like 10% of this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just...
And they were probably people that were going to call you anyway because they were like your uncle.
Yes, they were going to... Yeah, it was people that were like, "Oh, I didn't realize you did that. Of course I'm going to call you."
So...
and I learned those lessons, that first year or two. Man, I was not doing it right.
It can be a drain on you. So the key to winning on social media is...
let's talk about... So I went out on my own with no prep, and we've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
But Mitch stayed with his companies
I stayed
for
with
a
some
long
corporate
time.
companies for a while.
Well, guess what? That was in this area. That was a huge benefit.
Yeah,
because he knew, and he had time to develop a strategy that didn't cost him personally.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
I was being paid a salary to learn.
Exactly. He didn't care.
Yeah.
And so, when we talked about those things in the early episodes about that, this is a premium example of, hey, if you are going to stay at your job for a while,
this is an area to learn in.
This isn't one of those areas to, hey, step back and say, hey, you know what?
Right.
I'm going to be here for a year. I'm going to make my money, but I am really going to suck up all this freaking information that I need. This is that area.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had a lot of humble moments the last couple of episodes, but this is one of those examples of take that information in and write it. If you got to write it down, write it freaking down.
Or just listen to this episode a couple of times. I've re-listened to episodes on stuff that gave me some great nuggets over and over and over. So,
but if you're still at work, suck that stuff up.
Yeah.
And I keep pushing this episode longer.
That's all right.
I mean, I feel like it's really important.
So the key thing to remember is, like, why do you go to social media? You go to social media because you want to enjoy what you're seeing, right? You don't go to get lectured on how to better care for your hair, or you don't go to social media to get reminded to change your furnace filter or to check your water quality. Ultimately, you don't go to social media to be sold something. You don't subscribe or like a business page to be sold their products every time they post on social media. When you log on, you want to be refreshed. You want to take a disconnect from reality and enjoy, right?
Sometimes.
So why are all these companies doing it so wrong? I don't know. They don't know either.
They don't know either.
But it's kind of frustrating. So the key to winning on social media is to create posts that people enjoy. And it's that simple. People most of our crafts that we do are incredibly boring. Okay? Lawn mowing, boring.
They're necessary.
Plumbing, boring. HVAC, boring. Electrical,
It
boring.
all sucks.
They're all boring,
Yeah,
right?
They all suck. Videography might actually be a little better.
So,
although I don't know what it is about Marcus, but every time I look back, he's on his phone today.
Well,
you know why? Because his job is a little boring.
He's managing things well. So
yeah.
So the key is to make your social media page not boring. And if you're a service-provided company, there's a good chance that the key to you winning at social media is to never post anything about what you actually do. So, like for my page, it's a plumbing company, right? We very rarely ever post anything about plumbing. And let me give you an extreme example of this idea. Look at Wendy's, the fast food restaurant. Do you ever see them post a picture of a burger or fries?
No.
No.
I love Wendy's, by the way.
What do you see them do?
Triple.
They stay incredibly relevant on social media because they are the masters of trolling and roasting every other social media page out there.
You know what? I wish that I had realized it was really great because I love starting shit.
Yeah.
And that's what trolling is. It's starting shit.
Yeah. To bring this locally, they recently just did something where, like, comment on our page or whatever, and we'll, see if we can roast you or whatever. the Kansas City Royals.
Hey, next time you send that shit to me. We'll see if we can get them going. I'll fucking see what we got.
We're in Kansas City, right?
Love me, KC, baby.
KC Royals are really good about winning a World Series about once every 30 years. And so the Royals commented on Wendy's post and said, "What do you got for us?" And Wendy said something about, I don't know, we're thinking about making people wait every 30 years before they're satisfied. I mean, they just destroyed them, and that's what Wendy's is good at. So,
and that's entertaining.
Yeah.
And listen,
and that's why people go to social media, is to be entertained.
And listen, Wendy's doesn't need to do it. Okay, I mean, in this day and age, they need to do a little bit. You just kind of have to stay relevant, but they don't have to. It's not driving their business. But you know what? For you, it might be driving some serious business.
It could generate 10 phone calls a month.
Entertaining, yeah. And if you're a 1 or 2 man shop, that little bit of edge that gets you calls, it could be huge.
Yeah. So
it could make or break it, really.
As we've done with everything else, I'm going to give you how I did it. Now again,
here we go.
It's not for you to copy.
More
if you want to copy
plumbing
it,
bullshit.
But I had 5 rules for social media.
What are they?
And these seem to work really well.
I'm out of papers, so let's see what we got.
So rule number 1 was absolutely no more than 2 to 3 posts per week. I'm not posting daily.
I would say 2 would be my max.
Just kind of depends.
2 would be my max, but that's my personal preference.
But I'm not going to overload people with forcing them to look at my stuff.
Okay.
Rule number 2. Only post stuff that people will love. If it's not great, do not post it.
Now let's talk about that for 2 seconds, because sometimes you're not going to know
what
people are going to love.
Right. You might think people are going to love this write-up I did on furnace filters.
Yeah, and then you put it on there.
No,
and
they're
people
not.
are like, nah, fuck you, bro.
Right? So go through social media, find those posts that have tons of shares and tons of likes, and start doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you it's not anything involved with what you're doing.
If you're a one-man shop and you know that you don't have the personality to do stuff like that, maybe ask one of your buddies.
You might have to reach out.
You may just ask one of your friends. Like if Mitch ever would have asked, I don't. This is gonna sound. I shouldn't have said anything. This is gonna sound like I'm tooting my own horn. I feel like I have a pretty bright personality, and if Mitch ever would have asked me, hey, what do you think about this? I just would have been like, yeah, dude.
Shoot me straight.
Yeah, I just would have told him.
Yeah.
Or gave him ideas. He didn't, because he's an ass and just did whatever he wanted to do. But, sometimes you may have to ask your friends, hey, what would you do? What do you think about this?
Yep. Third rule for me is I rarely ever posted about our craft or our trade. Okay. Plumbing is incredibly boring, and nobody goes to social, nobody wakes up going, oh, I'm going to scroll through social media and hope I see some cool plumbing posts, right?
Yeah.
So rule number 4, the post must add value. And rule number 5.
What do you mean by must add value?
It must be stop scroll worthy. It must be slightly memorable.
Okay.
Not something that they just scroll on past, right?
Okay.
And the fifth and final rule is it must make people smile. And I don't care if it's like a half smile.
Do you mean feel emotion?
I don't know.
Any emotion.
Smile. Like I know when I'm scrolling through social media, you get to some posts where it kind of makes you breathe out your nose a little bit, like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Right? And you get some posts where you kind of crack a half smile, and then you keep scrolling. Those were like, it had to be one of those two.
I'm gonna be honest with you. So when I scroll through stuff and I see things, the funny things make me stop and I read them. Mm-hmm. But the sad things make me stop the same.
Yeah, they do. They do.
You know what I mean? So so if you have something that is of value that's sad.
But most of the sad ones are like sad happy.
Well, you know what?
This morning I shared a photo of a kid that's got cancer and he's going to die in a few weeks. And his lifelong wish was to wrestle a professional wrestler.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I'm not huge into wrestling, but...
dude, he's a kid. Let him have it. Yeah.
No. Like, I'm saying that because I can't remember the wrestler's name.
Hulk Hogan?
No. Modern guy.
Chris Rock? Chris Rock. The Rock is what I meant to say.
Anyway, here he is in a ring. He got his wish. Here he is in a ring.
Good for that
and he got
kid.
to punch the wrestler, and the wrestler gets knocked out, and then he gets to lay on the wrestler.
Yeah.
You know. And then
but that's a smile sad moment.
But it summarizes with like his, born date and death date, and the kid ends up dying in terminal cancer. It took him. But you're still like sad happy because he got to live out his dream before.
And that's what I meant by emotional. If it pulls me, if it pulls me one way or the other, I'll read it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And not only will I read it, but if it really tugs at me, sad wise or happy, I'll share it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't share a lot of stuff.
Yep.
I just don't.
So the challenge with these rules is how do you win on social media following these rules, right? Well, you have to find other stuff to post about other than what you do every day. So for, again, how we do it in our business, we post about our Family First program, our monthly community involvement stuff. And sometimes that's giving updates on repairs that we've performed over the last month. Sometimes it's letting people know that we have our room in our schedule for a few more service calls for the next Family First day. Another thing that we do, every Wednesday we make a post and it's summarized with the caption #WagonWednesday.
Is this about the dogs?
Yeah.
I love the dog one.
So
I love the furry friends.
We partnered up with a local dog rescue facility here in our area, and every Wednesday we showcase one of their adoptable dogs on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I used to, back when I had more time, and I need to make time to do this again.
Whoa. So we talked about this earlier. You said, hey, sometimes I do it, sometimes I do it. And literally in this episode, we talked about routine and making time for what's important.
Yep.
If you're not going to do it all out, I'm calling you out. You better fucking do it.
I need to get back to do it. I can guarantee it won't happen for the next
Marcus
2 weeks.
Fucking do it. He ain't doing shit.
What's funny is we've actually talked about him going out and doing some
that
videos
would be
of
great
these.
for Marcus.
Yeah. But so I used to go.
You know what? That
we already
also
spoke
means,
about it, Dave.
Hey, and then you don't have to put up with Mitch. You can just kind of do your own thing. You know what I mean? And then you could call me. I don't work for Mitch. Let's just call it. But I would go Marcus if he's gonna buy me lunch and be like, "Hey, we're gonna look at some dogs." I'd go with him. You know.
So what I did when we first started out is every Saturday this rescue facility would meet at a local pet store, and they would have like an adoption-a-thon or whatever. So I would meet them out there, and I would go out there and like take selfies with these dogs and play with them a little bit, and then the following Wednesday, I would take one of those photos and I would put my logo on it and their logo on it and #WagonWednesday and the dog's name on there, and I would share it on our Facebook page, and I'd write a couple of sentences about, the height and weight of the dog and the dog's name.
I've read a few.
Stuff like that.
I like them. I like seeing them.
People loved this. This was really cool. So
I like seeing them.
Not only did it bode well for our social media page, but we're batting a pretty damn good average on getting these dogs adopted within 2 weeks of showcasing them on our Facebook page.
Well, and it helps that you pick the good-looking dogs.
Yeah.
You're not getting the scragglies.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to pick the right ones.
When I say that, I love dogs.
Yeah.
Like I freaking love dogs.
So one other thing that I did for our social media page is, we drive around in plumbing service vans. I went and bought like a tiny little model of a plumbing service van, and I stickered it up kind of like our vans. Yeah. And I named the van Piper.
I haven't seen Piper in a while.
We're plumbers. I know, it's been a minute. We're plumbers, and so Piper seemed to fit for a name. And then I'll use that, like I keep it in my truck, and so as I'm driving around through the various things that we're getting into throughout the day.
Piper. Okay, I got it. Okay.
And you just now got that.
I'm just getting it. I mean, I'm slow sometimes, you know?
So, I might place that little tiny van on a new water heater we installed, and I would take a picture of it, and I kind of used that van as a way to kind of showcase some of the stuff that we get into. But it wasn't really showcasing our plumbing. Hashtag type things. I would use that one under like the idea of like Piper Goes, like all the adventures that Piper goes on, right?
Yeah.
And if we dug a big sewer line or something like that,
you'd put her on the edge or
put
something.
her on the put the little van on the edge of a dirt clod and take a picture of the big sewer stuff going on in the background.
It's fun being a kid sometimes.
And it was a way to kind of a little bit showcase what we did, but the focus was on Piper. It wasn't really on the sewer things, right? So like the wrong way to do that is like taking a picture of a big pile of dirt in somebody's yard that looks hideous and looks scary and being like, oh, we fix sewers too. Duh. Right? Like nobody wants to see that, but what they do want to see is a little cute van sitting on a dirt clod and, oh, look, Piper's digging a big hole, right? So
I like it.
Again, don't showcase your work directly, but find other creative ways to do it. And we know this works. And I'm not going to say this is the most successful way to do it, but I do know this works because at the time we're filming this show, our Facebook page has about 1,000 followers. The companies that I'm competing against in town, they've been in business for like 30 years, and they have like 5,000 followers, right? I can make a post on social media, and within a day, that post has 20 or 30 reactions and about 10 or 12 shares. One of these other companies with 5,000 followers, they'll make a post on their social media. Granted, they're doing it wrong. They'll make a post on their social media, and by the end of the day, it'll have like 2 likes. And I guarantee you it's like the company owner's mom and his wife that are liking it. And that one guy in the office that's trying to suck up.
Yeah, and none of the employees. If your employees aren't liking your shit,
right,
they're not happy where they're at. Or they're tired of the shit you're posting because they think it's bullshit.
Right. We post original stuff that makes people feel good. That's how we handle it. So
yeah, and that's a really good, I don't want to say story or example, but that's just if you're going to use social media, that's how you should do it.
Yeah, and like if you're not going to do it that way, don't do it.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're not going to do it that way, and you are going to just use it as a salesman platform, maybe once a month you do just say, hey, we're offering this for this month. That's better than just putting a whole bunch of crap on there every week.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then that's just beating people to death. If you're not going to be creative with it, if you're not good at it, don't do it every day. Do it once a month. Say, hey, this month we're offering 5% off, and leave it at that. Don't just be beating it into people.
Social media can be one of those things where it's going to generate a lot of questions. And so as we get through this next episode, episode 9, we're going to have our email address in there where you can email some of that stuff
in. And for those listening, I've been promoting for questions for 2 episodes. Yeah. So, and I'm letting Mitch have this one. Yeah. But when they do start coming in, I mean, I'm going to go through every one. Right. I want to see every one that comes through, and if we can, I'm going to answer everyone. Yeah. Because I want to feel what people are needing. Mm-hmm. I want to know what they need. Yeah. So, stay tuned in that next episode because that's where we're going to release that email address where you can send in some of those questions. And we're more than happy to look at some of those. And if we can offer you some advice on some of your social media concerns or questions, we're more than happy to help if we feel we can add value in that area. Yeah.
So,
and have we given out the website yet?
No, we're going to do that in the end of episode 9 too.
We're going to wait till the question and answer.
It'll all kind of come in that same thing. Okay. So Guys, that pretty much wraps up today's show on waking up, doing work, and repeating that work, and then also business networking.
Longer
groups.
episode than we thought, but that's okay.
Little longer, but again, these core episodes, there's so much value in there. We just got to get it. You just got to get it through there.
I think what we're gonna do is once it gets over an hour, we're gonna make Mitch take his shirt off, and we'll see how much longer it goes.
It'll drop
that.
pretty quick after that. So. Remember, if you're liking what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with anybody else you might think that's considering starting their own company.
Yeah.
It can be pretty scary to watch some of these people try to just wing it on their own, and they're going to go down the wrong path. So if you know of anybody or if you see of anybody on social media asking those kind of questions, shoot them a link to the show. Either if they're asking on social media, just drop it in the comments, but if you know of anybody personally, shoot them a text or something with a link to the show. That is the absolute best way to share this with as many people as possible. So remember that we're on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcasts and a couple other platforms out there. But
can I thank the people that have watched so far?
Yeah,
we have had
a
tremendous.
We're a week into this, and we've got some really. Our shows dropped about a week ago, and we've got some really, really good stuff going so far.
Yeah,
with those,
and thank you for watching. Thank you for listening on Spotify. Thank you for sharing it. I didn't think, to be honest, that we'd have this many views so far. So,
right.
So thank you, and keep sharing. Keep watching. We love you guys.
Yep. And,
that's really all we can say. You know?
Yeah. We'll be back soon with the episode 9, where we're gonna wrap things up on the core adversities,
get in the Q&A and get some guests going. I'm excited about it.
That's when this show starts to get real fun.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
We'll see you guys soon.
Love you.